Hello, everybody, and welcome to Act Up. This is episode 5. This is our last episode for the semester. I am April Joy Payumo, your political coordinator for this school year, and today's topic will be AAPI representation in the media. Because this is airing after Politicultural, I thought it would be fitting to not only have my co here, but a couple of other board members who are very interested in this topic as well. So take it away. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
Okay, what's up, everybody? I'm Mandy Altura. I am the cultural coordinator of this year. I'm a third-year journalism major, and I'm really excited about this podcast. Yeah, and to be with my lovely co, as always.
Barry?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Barry. I'm a second-year music recording tech and audio design major, and I'm one of this year's academic co-coordinators.
Hey, what's up? I'm Lynn. I'm this year's webmaster and I'm a second year advertising major. So yeah, very excited to be here with everyone.
Very, very swag. Okay, we're just gonna get into it. Growing up, did y'all have any Asian like role models in the media that you looked up to? Like, I mean, I guess this could extend beyond just like real life people, but even just like characters that you like really resonated with.
For me, obviously, the number one person is Jackie Chan. Yeah, growing up, he's probably like, especially in the early 2000s, actually, like he's in all the kung fu movies, all of the like Hollywood movies I remember. It's just like it's always Jackie Chan, and it was really cool to see like someone, I guess, like me, because especially at the time there was not a lot of Asian representation, and it was really cool to just see like somebody was able to
What
kick
drew you
ass.
to him though? Was it because like Jackie Chan is just like he's in like all the action movies, he's super funny? Was it just like you wanted to be like him, or was it like, oh, like he's Asian and that's like good enough for me?
I think it was definitely kind of a mix of both. Just like just there was just not a lot of people back then, especially when I was younger. It was probably like I could think about it, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, but then I think he was not around, right, in the 2000s. But
I love how Mandy talks about this and he goes, especially when I was younger, as if we're like, like 10 years younger than you.
Come on. When we were younger, okay, I'm sorry. But it's just it was really cool, like just everybody just being able to watch somebody like me. And I was really drawn actually to the fact that like he did his own stunts, right? Like I think that was one of the big Jackie Chan.
That's why he has a hole in his head.
Yeah. And also like the movies like Rush Hour, like those were always like super funny.
Interesting.
And,
Barry?
Okay.
You got any role models?
Yeah, I got one. Probably Manny Pacquiao, for sure. Because like it's Manny Pacquiao. I used to always like do his ab workouts and stuff, and like, whenever my family would be over and like watch his fights, like he's the GOAT, and but like in terms of like media, like for TV shows, I don't really have much. Like, I used to watch like a lot of Cartoon Network and stuff, and like Disney Channel, and like the only Asian people I know is like what's your name, Lyndon Tipton from
Brenda Song.
Yeah, Brenda Song.
Brenda Song. I loved the character of Lyndon Tipton because I thought it was so funny that they chose an Asian girl to be the parody of Paris Hilton. Like I just thought it was so funny because you would have like it kind of just like went against like every logical like instinct thought that like somebody might have and be like, okay, we'll cast like a typical like Caucasian lead. But like no, they chose an Asian girl, and I was like, wow, this is so amazing. For once I get to act like I can have somebody that I can relate to. And I know it sounds kind of bad, but it's like my friends like to say that like I am London Tipton low key sometimes because I do enjoy shopping. But I thought it was just so funny that they chose her. Lynn, what about you? Did you have any role models?
Like in the media in particular, I feel like I'm like closer to Mandy because like I do remember just being like Jackie Chan, he's the goat, like he did his own stunts. He like was like in every single like just movie I saw that was like with an Asian person. And
Mm-hmm.
then also like Brenda Song, because I was just like, she's the only person I actually like remember being Asian like while watching TV when I was younger, because like I feel like there wasn't that many.
Yeah, there
Like
definitely
not gonna
weren't
lie.
that many, especially on like kids networks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when you look around, like the only things that we had apart from that, like at least like from what I can recall, are like cartoons. So like American Dragon, Jake
I was
Long,
thinking about that. Yeah.
that was goated, but um also Avatar the Last Airbender. And we've talked about this a little bit, but Avatar the Last Airbender actually had like some very good points, and it was like I think it was very well made. Like I think it's like one of those series where it holds up really well because it's like even now like we see the impact of it because like they recently put it back on Netflix, right? And then everybody went crazy. I know Barry and I, we both like rewatched it and we were like, yo, so let's like flood the TL with like Avatar memes. Yes.
That was actually
Barry-
my first time watching it. To be
oh my
honest,
God.
I didn't. Yeah,
But I know Barry definitely likes to be like, I resonate with
I,
Zuko boy over here. Um, do y'all have any characters from like Avatar that you might like resonate with?
Uh, obviously, I have to give it to Toph Beifong. He's like probably
He's,
like always been
he's the
my
goat.
spirit animal growing up. My dog is actually named Toph. Funny story, but she's not blind.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
I really like Toph because she was just really like strong-willed. Kind of felt like in the first half, or not the first half, the first season, the
The Water
dynamic
Tribe
between, yeah, no, the dynamic between Ash, Katara, and Sokka
and
was kind of
Aang.
getting, I felt that it was kind of getting Ash, sorry, and Katara and Sokka, it was kind of getting like tired, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um Toph kind of like revitalized everybody because she was just so much more different and like
Yeah,
completely different background, you know.
I can
And I
see
really
that.
thought that was like really important. It's
I
really
think
important for everything. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it was very interesting, especially because it's like one of the only instances where there was, an Asian female character, but she kind of didn't fit into any of the like the stereotypes because okay, there is this general idea that there's this general idea that's like very much like perpetuated in entertainment that Asian women are like that they're small, like demure, shy, sort of introverted, and typically they're only given like second, like second place to like a lot of times you'll see Asian characters and they're only like ever like the best friend or something, right? And I thought it was really interesting with Toph because she just pushed so many boundaries with like the other characters, and I feel like it worked really well, especially because like you look at like Katara, you look at all of the Avatar girls actually, and they made such strong female characters that I think at least like for a lot of Asian girls, I don't know about Lynn, but I certainly like felt like these were some characters that I could like look up to and idolize and that I like resonated with like a lot because I always like people like to say that Katara was, a little bit whiny. Everybody's always like, oh, she was always crying about her mom. But I thought that her character was just so well written and I felt like a lot of times like people overlook her arc as a character, like all of that development. A lot of times people overlook it and I just think that like in general it was just like a really well made show and I like enjoyed their characters like thoroughly. Lynn, how did you feel about Avatar and like the Avatar girls?
Um, well, I haven't watched it recently.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie, I watched it when I was younger because like it was on, like that's all I really did when I was young. I just watched a lot of cartoons. So I felt like I think the character I related most to was like Toph, because I was just like I know for a fact I was kind of just the girl that like wasn't the same as everyone else, and I was like pretty strong-willed. Like I'm pretty strong-willed now, so it's like I feel like I related to her the most.
Mm-hmm.
Or like in general, like probably like Aang, because I feel like I spent a lot of time like trying to like learn more about stuff, but like I know for a fact I was like making a bunch of mistakes. So like he just felt like the kind of thing that I wanted to be, you know? Like he was like the not the last, I believe he was the last one, like Avatar the Last Airbender. So like I feel like just like seeing his story, like it made me want to do more, even though like I am a girl. Like it, I feel like the
Yeah, like
Avatar, like you don't have, it doesn't matter what gender you were. It just was like if you were like strong enough to do it.
mhm.
So I was just like, yeah, Aang.
I kind of like how yeah, it's also interesting because like the next Avatar after um Aang was like Legend of Korra, and I don't know if y'all have seen it, but when I was watching it, I was like, this is so interesting because it's made by the same creators, but the tone of that one was so like it felt so much different from the original series. And a lot of people got like a lot of people had criticism for it, especially like, you know, like there was also like controversy with like Nickelodeon because they decided in the last season they wanted to hint at the fact that Korra was bi. And I thought that was so interesting because I was like, wow, there's here we have like another very like strong-willed female character um who really just like breaks all of these norms, and I thought it was so interesting. Barry, how did you, it was there, I mean obviously I kind of touched on it already with like the whole Zuko thing, but did is he really the only one that you resonate with?
Um, yeah, I mean, low key, but like, I also like the character arcs with like Sokka and stuff and all that. He has all his girlfriends and stuff. And
Sokka was a
yeah,
whole player. I'm gonna
yeah,
be real. For his first girlfriend turned into the moon.
yeah.
That's rough, buddy. I
Super.
mean, honestly, if I had, can I tell y'all what who like which characters that y'all remind me of?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, do it.
I'm gonna be real. Mandy, he gives me cabbage vendor vibes.
You
It's because
really
I'm old.
dang.
I don't know. You just give me some cabbage vendor vibes. And then Barry reminds me of Sokka. Like I'm not gonna lie, like he definitely does. Like I don't know why. I think it's just like your
Yeah,
sense of humor and like the jokes and stuff. But there are moments where like you switch between Sokka and Zuko, and it's really funny to me.
that's what my friends told me. They told me I have I look like Zuko, but like on the inside I'm a Sokka, you know? Like,
I mean, that's admirable. We love Sokka. The way he went from a misogynist to like protecting all of the women. Because literally in the first episode, if it hadn't had been for Sokka's like pigheadedness towards his sister, she wouldn't have like accidentally like summoned the last airbender. You know what I mean?
true, true.
And then yeah, I do see Toph with like Lynn and like the whole like even just like the sense of humor I feel like is very similar.
Heck yeah.
I feel
Y'all
like
watch Crazy Rich Asians? Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
and I will say that is very realistic. Crazy Rich Asians. A lot of that is pretty true. Um, yeah, I think definitely like Crazy Rich Asians was kind of, I wouldn't say it was my story because I'm not, I'm not rich, but like I did know a lot of people like that. It was definitely like, especially like in the Philippines, growing up in like a predominantly Asian country, so it was just like such a big hit. It's just like everything everybody was talking about at the time. Like I remember definitely like every day you'd hear like a reference about Crazy Rich Asians. Like I remember me and my friends were just playing mahjong, and then we do the scene at the end where it's like, I did this I did this for you. And we'll be like, no. And then we'd say like, now you get to date my husband or whatever. Yeah, stuff like that is, it was really, really impactful. And I was really glad to see it like be shown in the mainstream media.
I think I generally like, again, like this goes back to like my whole thing where I was like, oh yeah, I love the idea of like London Tipton. I liked the idea of Crazy Rich Asians because it showed off this other side that a lot of people don't realize. There's a lot of people who assume that like especially like when you look at like the demographics between like Asian countries, you look at like Southeast Asia, and a lot of people like the assumption is that like it's all like third world. And there is this like term that people like to say, and it kind of like originates from like Ali Wong's stand-up comedy, where she says that there's like a difference between like jungle Asians and like fancy Asians, right? And it's one of these very funny things where like you look at Singapore and it's this like gem in like the middle of the jungle, because a lot of it like it's become like one of the most like sought after places to live in the world. And like billionaires go there, like real estate there. You have to have like 15 like you have to have like $15,000 just to get like a license to own a car. That's not even counting the car like price. You have to like get a registered thing so that you can just keep your car, and you have to pay that $15,000 like every year. And I think it's just like it's so funny because like you look at it face value, and like for a lot of Asians that's not like what our everyday life looks like. And I think like all of us can kind of agree, because like none of us are like billionaires, but like I felt like the movie itself and the values that it showed were like fairly like accurate, and I feel like it portrayed Asian culture very positively. Would y'all agree?
Definitely.
Did Yeah, there was also like a, Mandy probably knows this. They also had like cameos from like two Filipino actors in that movie. Um, one of them was the gay cousin, and the other one was
It was Chris
Chris Aquino,
Aquino,
and
dude.
she was like the princess of something, and I was like, yo, they really had Chris
Yeah,
Aquino out here,
dude, that
just
was
like,
like, right, that was like the biggest meme back in the Philippines because something you don't know is I think Chris Aquino auditioned for one of the lead roles, but then they like rejected her on the spot, and that was like huge news. And then just like every time, and honestly, Chris Aquino is really cool, but like he's kind of a big meme in the Filipino community. Fun fact.
yeah, honestly, like it's very funny because like they literally gave her like two lines, and
Yeah.
then like every Filipino was like, yeah, Chris Aquino's in Crazy Rich Asians, we made it. And I just thought it was like so great, and I thought it was really funny. I love how like the gay cousin, um played by I think Nico Santos, I think is his name, I'm not sure, so don't fact check me on that one. But he also like has played a couple of other like small roles in TV, and I just really liked how the the director and like the casting was like fairly like diverse. Like obviously like um most of the characters like were Chinese, because like that's the idea, like they're like a lot of them are like Chinese billionaires, or like, but they also had like Thai, Singaporean, Malay, all sorts of different people from different backgrounds. And I just thought that that was really nice, because that's like one of the very few instances, apart from like the Joy Luck Club, which came out like how many years ago, right? It's one of the few instances where you see like a predominantly Asian cast in American media. And I think that's why it was so like it was such a big deal for people here. You know what I mean? Hmm. Did so okay, I never watched Ghost in the Shell, but have any of y'all like seen it, or like do y'all know about Ghost in the Shell?
Um, I don't really know much. Obviously, I know it's an anime. It's an adaptation, but I
Okay.
didn't know I didn't bother to watch it because obviously the controversy surrounding it was Scarlett Johansson, am I
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Oh yeah.
As a Asian woman, and just
Mm-hmm.
like when something's like that badly panned already, it's just like what's kind of the point? Like the arguments kind of make themselves at that point, you know?
Mm-hmm. That kind of like brings me to what I was gonna ask y'all is did it make you feel like do you feel like sometimes like when you look at casting and there's like such a lacking in like effort to be like true to like the original script or something, like it's just kind of disheartening, right? Like you look at it and then it's like this is there's something off about this, and like there is this big issue with um like whitewashing characters and stuff. um they call it like yellow face. Like there's like really really horrible like track record in like Hollywood of like white actors playing like Asian characters, and I feel like it is like very it shows like how little we've like progressed over time. um this is like the same problem that people had with like when Avatar came back out and then Netflix announced that it was going to do a live action. um and then a lot of people had issues over whether or not the show was going to try and keep itself like as accurate to like the characters from the books. How do y'all feel about that, considering it's like a cartoon and you know it's been a couple years since it came out, and they also already had like the Avatar live action? Like how do y'all feel about like the Netflix one? Do you think
Okay.
it's
Yeah. If it's one thing that Netflix is gonna do, they're gonna whitewash for sure. So like, yeah, I feel like in a lot of like their original shows, like and like all their series, like the casting is always white or like mostly white people because like even like even like the original like show from Nickelodeon, even like the how they portrayed it, it's all like written by like white people, and like even the cast, like the voice actors, there's only like a couple Asian people, which is like Dante Bosco and what's his name? He voiced Uncle Iroh, but yeah, like
oh
there's yeah,
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he was I think he used to be a soldier too, and he fought in like World War II.
yeah,
And those were like the only Asian members of like the voice acting cast.
mhm. But yeah, when it comes to like the Netflix one, like it's like it's not really surprising, like
Mm-hmm.
when they decide to like include like white characters portraying Asian characters, but yeah, I agree that it's disheartening, and that yeah, they should stop.
um, while I'm on the topic of like Netflix originals, I've asked y'all this before about like whether or not y'all have seen the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series, because I've read the first two books. I didn't finish the third one because I was so angry over how the second book happened. Um, but at least for me, I felt like it was so like I liked it a lot because um Lana Condor, like the character of Lara Jean, like she's meant to be like half Korean, half American. And yet they chose a Vietnamese girl to play the role. And I thought, okay, I was like, okay, this is as close as we're gonna get to like a very accurate thing. And I was like, okay, at least if they're gonna pick somebody of a different race, she's like full Asian, you know what I mean? Um, but I thought I really liked it because it also like it was very real and kind of I felt it like reflected on like Asian youth like very well. When you look at it, like it I felt like it kind of um like I was able to resonate with it a lot. Lynn, how did you feel about like the dynamic between like Lara and like her identity as like an Asian girl, but also like between her siblings and stuff?
Funny story, I didn't watch the movie.
Oh wait, you did it? Oh
No.
shoot. No,
That
Mandy
was
did.
me.
Yeah.
Mandy did.
Okay.
But Mandy, how do you feel about the
Okay.
movie?
Sorry, Lynn.
It's all
Okay.
good.
Um. Well, obviously, I'm not American, so well, I mean I am technically, but like not culturally, I guess. So it was a little different for me because it was, I guess, not as relatable as maybe all of you did, but I think the best part about that was just like being able to see kind of just some Asian struggles like uh being present in the media. Like I remember, was that the movie where they were like dressing up? It was just like little things like that when you're just like dressing up in like stuff from your own cultures, or just like eating like certain food that they might be kind of,
Like the exposure to it,
yeah, the exposure to it in like for like from like an American
point of
point of
view.
view, I guess, was to me really interesting. And obviously, yeah, it's also, I guess, cool to see like couples when couples happen and they're not conventional, so to speak. That makes sense.
Interesting. Um, so I know that I'm not the only person who like I'm not the only person here who like watches like Korean entertainment because I know Lynn does. But yeah, I would like to ask like why did you feel like do you feel like Asian media in general like is more relatable? Because I know like Barry and Mandy, y'all have both watched like animes and stuff, and like Lynn too, like to a certain extent, like you've watched like clips and stuff here and there, right? I i never watched like anime, but I recently got into K dramas, and I used to watch teleseries a lot as a child, because that was like my after school routine. Like I went to school in National City. I would go home to my grandparents' house and I would watch teleseries after school. Imagine being 7 years old and you're watching shows about like people cheating on each other. That's what my childhood was like.
Me too.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just something that's so unique to like especially like to Asian kids, um because like these are kind of your only like when you look at it like Asian cultures, like you have very few outlets like to begin with. And so like when you get exposed to them, a lot of times it's like you pick up on things very quickly. So yeah, Lynn, like do you feel like watching like K-pop and stuff, you're like, okay, I like this more, not just because like it's like I mean like it is good. I'll give it that. Like I think like we can all agree like you know it might not be everyone's taste, but like it is like relatively speaking like it is good. Um, you do you like it like because you can like relate to it, I guess, or because like the aesthetic fits you more?
I think for like the
Uh,
personally for me, it's just like I look like those people, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
It's not like, so I feel like their struggles would be similar enough to mine where it's like, oh, I can relate to that. And then I think more so like besides like K dramas and like K-pop, like things like 88 Rising, um I think they have been having like a really big impact on like Asian Americans, especially because it's like,
It's very popular.
yeah, they are like, they're not like all Asian American, like Rich Brian's from Indonesia, but like they are able to take like their culture and stuff and like bring it into like the new like Western media without
Mm-hmm.
like having too much backlash. Like Joji's like constantly like in the Times Square like once his new album came out. Like I think like that's something people can look up to now, because like when we were kids, like we didn't have that kind of stuff. Like the like the most we got was like London Tipton
And
being
then
like
like Vanessa
top tier.
Hudgens in
Yeah.
like High School Musical, like
Yeah.
when people found out that Vanessa Hudgens was like half Filipino, Filipinos went crazy. We were like, yes, this is the representation we need. And then you look at like Camp Rock, and then like Ana Maria Perez de Tagle was also Filipino, but then she was also like the side character in Hannah Montana. She was like the quirky Asian best friend that was like kind of dumb. And I was like, really? Y'all couldn't have given her like a different role? But it's okay. We stan her and we stan her TikToks. But yeah, I also agree that like 88 Rising, I love it so much. I wish so badly that they like that I wish that COVID wasn't a thing so that maybe we could get like an 88 Rising like performers like concert at SDSU. Up until now, I still have never been to an SDSU concert, but I know that 88 Rising, like some of the people have gone to like UCSD for like their Sun God Festival, and I was like, yo, I if there's one person that I would love to see perform for SDSU, I feel like it would be Nikki, to be honest. Y'all know last year we kind of went feral when Indigo came out, Indigo dropped, and then I heard it everywhere. Everybody was making TikToks. I made a TikTok to that song. They were playing it in APSA Media, or no, not APSA Media, APSA Music before we had like M4 night, and everybody was like, you know I'm your type, right? And I was like, girl, that line is getting so old, but I feel like there's just such a wide array of like outlets and stuff that like Asian entertainers have been able to like flourish, like especially like with TikTok and with YouTube especially. Like there's a whole slew. I feel like a lot of Asian American kids at least can agree that there's like certain YouTubers who'd really just like paved the way, like Wong Fu Productions, Ryan Higa, Justin Chan, Happy Slip, Kev Jumba, like
Rip Kev Jumba.
Rip Kev Jumba. I love him though. Him and Papa Jumba, I used to watch him all the time. And even like it was so nice because I would like come home from school and then I would like binge watch like all of their videos. I didn't even care if like I had seen the video like 20 times already. I would rewatch it. How to Be Ninja, How to Be Emo. Those are iconic, legendary. Papa Jumba being like, Team Jumba. Like, I used to make my dad watch those with me, and my dad was like, I like his dad. I like his vibe. And I thought it was so funny because it just really brought the community together. And I feel like it has also shown a lot of Asian youth that like there are other avenues of success rather than just being like, you know, than going into STEM or going into law. Like I am guilty of like wanting to go into law, but there is also a part of me that has always wanted to be an entertainer. I think that's pretty obvious considering I decided to do a podcast instead of a blog. You know, I've always had this like this dream of like wanting to like give people joy and to like put on a show for them. And so I feel like a lot of Asian kids, at least, like we really have like a soft spot in our hearts for those kinds of people. Who did you watch? Like, who can y'all name some of your favorite YouTubers, either from like growing up or now?
Ryan Higa for sure. Yeah, I remember as in the Ninja Glare. Like,
dang, he really did it.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
really had to do it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else? There's a bunch of
JK
TikTokers.
Films. JK Films, I feel like, was a pretty influential YouTube like not group, but like a group. They're like it was started by Bart Kwan and Joe Jitsukawa, and like this company, like they're like mostly Asian and they're like huge now. Like they have expanded to like multiple channels and like they've hired like tens of hundreds, I believe. Like it's not like a big company or anything, but it's still like a company enough to where like they can support themselves and others too. So I feel like they've been a pretty big YouTube influence, and like they're like in Ryan Higa's videos, so it's like pretty funny.
Mandy, you got any YouTubers?
I mean, I can't believe we all forgot. We talked about him before, actually. It's Filthy Frank. I love Filthy Frank too much.
My best friend loved Filthy Frank so much that we like when she had to like wean herself off of Filthy Frank like after a while because we were like, girl, this is You gotta stop. You gotta stop with the filthy Frank memes. Um,
I don't know if that's particularly like because they are Asian, but like, yeah, well, yeah,
I think
Safari
there's like
Frank.
Man,
some aspects.
Safari
There's
Man, yeah.
definitely some aspects that he did. Like obviously I can't name them at the top of my head, but like I
One
think
thing,
just
yeah.
I think just him being Asian in general and is just like I think it's just very comforting, especially like when we're talking about everybody,
Mhm.
to see that in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you like see a small part of yourself in them.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, one thing that I always see like people joke about, like especially on TikTok, there's all of these like Asian content creators on TikTok, and they're always like, yeah, like this is an ode to the OGs on like YouTube and stuff, like all of the simps. Like there's a whole bunch of memes about like Asian people or like Asian youth being like, all right, I'm simping now because like we grew up on like stuff like short films like Wong Fu, right? And they did like Strangers Again. I feel like that's one like it's like a cultural reset for a lot of people. They're like, oh man, that had me crying when I was like, there people be like, I was crying when I was 12, as if I was going through like a breakup, even though, you know, obviously I've never been with somebody. Like I feel like that in and of itself has become such a it's like a pillar for like Asian youth to just be like, yeah, I watched that. I was part of that generation that was like simping over Philip and I forgot her name. Oh god. Yes, yes. They'd be like, oh, I was simping over the Wong Fu boys. They're just the best. And I feel like it's so nice to be able to see that they're like their popularity hasn't gone away. If anything, there's also like they've brought more into like a lot of their interns and stuff, and a lot of their employees have gone on to do like their own individual things, and it's so nice and refreshing to see. um yeah, so what would y'all like to say to AAPI kids who, you know, like about like our state of like entertainment and like media now? Do you think that we've grown for the better, or that like we still have a lot of work to do in terms of like trying to make entertainment and the media like more reflective of the real world? Because obviously like with the way that it's set up right now, a lot of it is very like a lot of it is like very like Caucasian. um there's not a whole lot of room for like Asians to find their roles. Like a lot of times you like Asian actors and stuff, they only find like roles and casting in like secondary positions. Like usually it's like a side character, or like they're there for comedic relief, right? Do you think would you like to like tell the kids like, oh, we have a lot of work to do? Because like Barry, you're also like, I mean, none of us are typical like STEM or like, you know, majors. Like none of our majors are like things that like a lot of people would consider um like professional-esque, I guess is what you would say. um what would you like to say to like people who would also like want to go into like non like I guess like non stereotypical fields, and like how they could look up to like the media or something?
I'd say um, first thing I say is probably like don't be discouraged. You know, like like me, like I feel like I still have like, even though like it's not really common for like, you know, for people like me to be like in this type of industry. Like there's still a lot of competition, but like, yeah, just don't get discouraged by all that. Like, you know, you gotta start somewhere. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, everyone starts like somewhere. And like, see, I look up to, what's it called, like Rich Brian. Like he's like one of the only like Asian rappers that I know, and like, or like Asian artists that I know.
You and him,
Yeah,
bars.
yeah, and yeah, yeah, just that's like probably the most important thing. Like, just don't get discouraged to, like, you know, because, you know, like everyone has like like different like art, like what am I trying to say? Like
Art is for everyone.
yeah, it's for everyone. There's if you put something out there, like it's gonna speak to someone, you know, like someone's gonna relate to it. So yeah, just don't get discouraged, and there's no like right way to do anything.
Very interesting. Lynn, as an advertising major, how do you feel about our like final point? Like how do you feel about like our current state of affairs?
If anyone just is like discouraging to like what you want to do, like if you're not like in engineering or like a medical field, just screw them. Like literally, who cares? Like it's not their lives. Like do what you want to do. You are on this earth for like what the average is, like 79 years or whatever it is. Do what you want. Like who cares? Like you can either make your life as meaningful as you want it to be. So if you want to do what you want to do and like be happy, then do it. Like if you're going to get a lot of backlash from it, yes, there's going to be that like stigma that like you're not going to be like as good as your cousin or whatever. But like does that really matter in the grand scheme of things? Like you're there are people that are going to support you. Like if you're in a fam, your parents will support you, or your friends are if they're like your actual friends. Like they will
Or
support
your
you no matter.
mentors.
Yeah, your mentor, maybe even your
I don't know why I
mentees,
said it like that.
mentors, and if you don't have like that support system, like there's always online communities that you can join because they're anonymous. Like they don't know who you are technically, so
I mean,
you
look
can
at
do whatever you want.
Erwin being force hacks over here. Man's is a civil engineering major. My spouse is a civil engineering major, but he also was like, "Let me be an entertainer. Let me be a streamer for Minecraft." And I feel like that's so refreshing that like there's like a dynamic to it. Like it's not. It shows that like Asian people, there's not just like one side. You know, there's avenues for like literally anybody, sort of deal. Mandy, any final words on this topic, considering we just did our politicultural on this?
Definitely, I think nowadays, if you're considering going into, I guess, a non-STEM like related field towards like something that's supposed to be stereotypical, to you, I think there's definitely a lot more avenues to get in, if that makes sense. Like especially compared to before, because movies like Crazy Rich Asians or even like the upcoming Shang-Chi, they're really gonna like bring up the talk about representation. And I think I didn't used to think this, but representation is like extremely important just because um just for the ability to inspire, and after like these talks about after people talk about things more, there will be more avenues to get into the industry, because just because like it's not necessarily just because it's a trend, but also because um people people will realize how important it is. So I think the biggest thing you kids need to remember is just don't get, as Barry said, don't get discouraged, but also don't be afraid. Like nothing will ever happen if you never do anything. So yeah, it's just
Do or
everybody
do
should.
not. There is no try.
Exactly, exactly. If you never do anything, you're never gonna get anywhere. So if it's something you want to do, and if it's something you're passionate about, and it's something you're able to do, like no external factors are like stopping you, then you should just go for it. Because one day, I don't know, maybe you might regret it if you don't.
And maybe, who knows? Maybe one of y'all viewers out there is gonna be famous someday, and then you can look back and be like, "Hey, I watched AP or I watched Act Up, and those people they really hit my soul. The homies got it in there." Well, there you have it, folks. This was our last AP Square or our last Act Up of the semester. I'm April Joy Payumo, your political coordinator. Um, Daily reminders: mask up, drink a lot of water. I can't say much for myself because this is iced coffee. But drink water, mask up. If you have meds, take your meds. Take care of yourself. Stay happy, stay healthy. And this is me signing off.